Of all the problems the U.S. is facing now, one of the most pressing is the issue of U.S.-China relations, a subject often explored in depth by Mr. Miles Guo in his GTV broadcasts. On February 26th, after he presented a clip of interview by Jin Canrong, Mr. Guo commented, "This clip from Jin's interview is really a bombshell. It sends shockwaves to the West, especially the part of let us, the CCP, defeat the U.S. and make it totally submissive. Also, Jin's remarks on the China-U.S. relations are worth paying attention to." Mr. Guo said,
大家就不要小看了金灿荣啊，金灿荣绝对是共产党，他和胡锡进是共产党养的最好的两个高级的。官方的承认的两个这种咬人的狗你是可以从这两个人身上的行为你可以判断出共产党的政策的。
Who exactly is this Jin Canrong? On the surface, Jin is a professor and the vice president of the School of International Relations of Renmin University of China, a prestigious institute located in Beijing. Being featured on many high-profile interviews on the CCP state media and institutions, he has a huge following on various Chinese social media outlets, such as Weibo, etc. The unsuspecting and brainwashed Chinese netizens regard him so highly that they even have came up with a nickname for him, 政委 aka Political Commissar. A title was made well known by the former Soviet Union's Red Army, later on inherited by the CCP's PLA. In short, it is a supervisory officer responsible for the party's political education and organization of the units they are assigned to. He intended to ensure civilian control of the military on behalf of the Communist Party. And guess what? Jin, a professor in international relations, has proudly taken up on the honor and has adopted this political commissar as his Weibo's handle. As he has tightened his grip on power in Beijing, both parties in Washington have increasingly come to see the CCP as a destabilizing and aggressive threat. Hence, the pressure exerted towards Beijing gets heated up. Jin now can be seen hopping from one public speech platform to another, leveraging his prestige title in China-U.S. relations studies, swaying the Chinese public sentiments toward a more wolf warrior mentality, while intentionally justifying the CCP's increasingly proactive moves towards Taiwan. In a South Korean KBS interview, Jin pointed out that the wolf warrior style diplomacy is to safeguard national interests.
现在中国受到美国的压制，马上就要反击，这是非常正常的。对某种意义上讲，中国外交不叫战狼化，中国外交正常化。
The CCP does not respect Taiwan's military power at all. In this 2019 clip of Jin, he said,
台军我跟你说20万人呐，在我军面前就是一堆肉，它是没有意义的。这一点呢，美国、台湾都低估了。
He did not shun away from calling out that the true adversary of Beijing is the U.S., the meaningful power behind Taiwan. In the case of the PLA launches moves to take over Taiwan, if the U.S. does step up and defend Taiwan, the PLA will not hesitate to wipe out or dysfunctionalize, as he said, the U.S. military deployment in the whole region, and this can be achieved within a few hours of time only, as the PLA possesses the full capacity to counter the U.S. military right at this moment, said Jin. In a more recent interview on October 5, 2020, Jin echoed the same rhetoric of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of China, quote-unquote, Taiwan has always been a part of China. There shouldn't have even been a midline in the Taiwan Strait. Evidently, yet another not-so-subtle effort in helping the CCP hijack the moral high ground, if it so chooses to proceed with Wu tone such as taking over Taiwan by military force in the name of reunifying. And of course, if that happens, all the Taiwanese disastrous suffering will have to be blamed on Taiwan's Tsai Ing-wen and the U.S., only the culprits who have provoked Beijing. The CCP always claims that Taiwan has always been an inalienable part of China. Isn't it self-contradictory that in the eyes of the CCP, the 23.6 million lives of the Taiwanese people, purportedly the very people it should serve and cherish, means nothing compared to its blatant political agenda of conquering the island at all costs? Just as the old saying, "Don't listen to what they say, watch what they do," a proverb that is particularly useful when it comes to deciphering the Communist Party. Of course, in order to achieve its goal of take down the U.S., the Taiwan maneuver is only a fraction of the CCP's ground scan craftily deployed for the past few decades globally, such as the PGY plan, the 3F plan. There are many other plans being deployed. Through the mouth of Jin, the CCP has sent another strong warning to the U.S. and the West.
所以2030年之后，从制造业指标看，地球上只能有两个国家，一个叫中国，一个叫外国。
This claim seems laughable, as it is either a lie or clearly Professor Jin does not have a good understanding of the world technology's dominance. Still, the brazenness and lunacy behind is astonishing. Just imagine, people from the rest of the world would one day wake up and find themselves living in a country called foreign that has to kowtow to the Communist China, aka the CCP. Hopefully by now, the US and the world have finally come to realize the nature of the CCP and what it's been up to. Time to wake up and take action. It's now or never.